croqueta masa cooled in a pan overnight or 4 hours in the fridge. We're going to cut rows and columns like a brownie. Don't worry if they're thick, thin, big or small, because you always adjust it when you make the form of the croqueta ball. See? So they're cut. Well, prior to doing this, prepare a plate of flour, your breadcrumbs, your eggs, and a pan of where you've put the finished croqueta. This is your egg milk mixture for your dipping. And once you've cut and have everything else prepared, prepare a pan of olive oil mixed with a little bit of grapeseed oil, because remember, just plain olive oil or just one oil makes it burn. You don't want it to burn. Flour your hands. You need to flour your hands before you touch your croqueta mixture or it'll stick. And you depeel it from the wax paper. And it's probably approximately a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons a ball. Make sure you form them. And it's actually not a ball, it's an oblong egg-like ball. See? And we put them in the egg for dipping. Once you've dipped them in egg, we'll put them in the breadcrumbs. Make a bunch at a time. And again, as you're doing this process, your pan is heating. It needs to be hot. This takes a long process, making these balls. Once you get the knack of them, you'll be able to finish it. Okay, we've done a bunch of our formed croquetas. We are dipping them in the egg mixture, as you see here. Get one out. Take off the extra dripping of egg and put it in your flour and your bread mixture. Breadcrumbs. I sometimes buy them, but what I usually do for breadcrumbs as well is I dry out the butt end pieces of the sliced bread that I buy, or if I have bread that's gotten dried, I chop it up and I make my own breadcrumbs. But usually I buy a mixture of breadcrumbs and mix them. Never just do one breadcrumb. But these are breadcrumbs, seasoned. Breadcrumbs with some parsley and of course some salt, as you see. And then they're here in the breadcrumb mixture after they've been dipped in egg. Your pan is still heating here, it's not that hot yet. Cover them up. I need to get another fork here. I like to have a fork for the breadcrumb and a fork for the egg mixture. So, breadcrumb croqueta. See? It's covered up. Zoom in. Make it look good. Remember, food that's made at home is better than bought processed food. These are the uncooked one. I can smell the oil now getting hot. If you want to test if your oil is hot, you have several ways of doing it. You can buy one of these great thermal temperature ones. It tells me it's at 300 degrees, which is perfect. Or you can do the water test. Put a sparkle. And, oh, thought I had enough. You hear it crackling, or you put a small piece of raw white bread, and when it gets toasted, you know it's ready to put your croquetas on. While that's still heating, I'm going to cover some more of these with breadcrumbs. You should always have a fork for bread and the fork for the egg. Don't mix the two or you're going to just get gummy egg here. Food is of the senses. You should have some music to give you that sensual feeling. And then you invite friends and family over for the other sense, and a great bottle of wine, and you got yourself a restaurant quality meal. Put it in a flower formation in your pan, not too close to each other, 1 inch to 2 inches apart. This is a 12-inch pan, as you can hear, starting to sizzle. The fat of a croqueta takes longer to cook. This is a little bit too fat. They're small, they're perfect. See, they're taking their time to reach up to temperature. So approximately 4 to 5 minutes on each side. You're going to cook them until they're toasted brown, golden brown on both sides, and then let it drain on your paper towel. After a while you get a knack. You want it tight. Not too tight, but tight. When you squish it in your palm of your hand, it should be tight. And then just do a formation because no one needs to see croquetas in the shape of a knuckle. As you see here, they're sizzling. You can't smell it, but you can smell that they have gotten to the part of the golden brown on one side. We flip them over. The center will get cooked faster than the ones on the outskirts of the circle due to the heating element. I like cooking on gas, but if you're used to electric, you know how to adjust your pan. I have it, as you see, in the medium high. And we'll cook them for another 5 or so minutes on this side. Our sensual music on, you gotta have sight is your food. Hearing, your favorite music to get you in the mood. Your stuff prepared, your stuff is cooking. The other sense, smell. Unfortunately, during video, sure sometime in the future we'll have smell in video. And your food cooking. I always look at the clock every time I flip or put them on, because then I can calculate 5 minutes. I don't always use the timer. So as that's going, we've prepared some more here that are raw. When you line your cookie sheet, always line it with some wax paper and then the paper towel. Why? We had to let the croqueta dough cool down for 4 hours or overnight, whichever is best for you. I usually do the overnight thing. It's because this dough should not be warm when making the ball form. You make it while it's still warm and you try to dip it and bread it. When you fry it, it's going to flatten out. So make sure your dough has cooled completely through, because it's easier to form a ball when it's cold. They're ready to almost come out. As you can see, the pan is empty. All of them are here to be dipped and breaded. But when you're doing this, you will notice that your hands start being caked with the flour. So you rub it off as best as you can. While making croquetas, you're going to do them in batches. While one batch is cooking, you're forming, dipping, breading the next batch to go in. You always have some ready at hand. Okay. And we're going to put our cooked croquetas in on a paper towel to drain. To go from the pan. Golden. If you notice that maybe another part isn't golden enough, could be 3 sides that you might need to cook. See, both sides are toasted brown, and we put it on our pan to drain off the excess oil. For appetizers and also as a quick dinner, put 12 or 8 in a small toaster oven at a 350 for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and you got a great quick meal with some vegetables, a salad, or some rice. So, sometimes we have to replenish the oil we've used, just a good tablespoon. Do it on the outskirts, where it's the coolest, hottest in the center. That's, I just add more extra olive oil because we already have a mixture there. And then we place the next batch that we've made. Right. Look at our time. And let those cook 5 minutes on each side. And we'll come back, we'll repeat this batch a couple more times. I got A couple more croquetas are made out of one big pan, 1.5 pounds of fish to 2 to 3 chicken breasts, which probably is another 1.5 to 2 pounds of meat that has been cooked, shredded, sautéed in onions, mixed with a flour milk porridge mixture, folded, cooled completely, which is at least 4 hours in the fridge, and then dipped in egg, bread, fried. And we'll be back with the completed product. Just fold in your eggs, roll them in the egg mixture, put them in here with your bread, toss them around till they're covered in the bread mixture. Pat them down sometimes too to get enough bread mixture. And when you're doing this, it's all a process. Take a long time. Well, if you do it in steps, cook the fish or chicken one day, then do the porridge mixture, the dough part the next day. And it doesn't have to be day by day. You can do it one day and then 2 days later do it. Doesn't really matter. You can always do things in steps. You can even do it all in one day. I've done that as well. Cook it up in the morning, stick it in the fridge, and then cook it in the evening. 4 that are not cooked, and the rest on the outer skirts that are finishing up. This is the finished product. As you can see, the paper towel has absorbed some of the oil. So, as you see, we've done 1, 2, almost 3 batches here, and we got another batch to go to cook. Now, you're saying, oh my God, this is too time consuming. Who would want to do this? Anyone can do this. Time consuming or not, because I see that my oil is going down low. It goes down low because of the breadcrumbs start consuming a lot of the oil. Put another 2 tablespoons. And do it on the outskirts, because it always gets to the center. This one is cooked on 2 sides. So we got 1, 2, but see that center? Now that doesn't mean it's not cooked, but I just like getting all the sides brown. As much as I can. You don't have to be adamant about it. Could be both sides. As long as both sides are golden brown, your thing is cooked. But you can tell by eye if it's not cooked or not. See the difference? The 5 that are not cooked, the others that are cooked. We're going to take out the outskirts, let the center ones cook up. This has taken approximately 1 hour from forming them, dipping them in flour, egg, and bread mixture, and cooking in 3 or so batches. Here we have it, our 37 croquetas, cooked to perfection. See here, a gorgeous croqueta. We'll break it in half. Still hot, you know. And there you have it. Great fish croqueta. Enjoy. You'll love it.